Welcome to Accounting High.
Introducing the gamification, the fun element is necessary for any business, any industry to survive. Athletes are just playing games. Football, we just made up a game and people are playing it. So why not do that in accounting? And that's where CPAcon is being that accounting sport for us. Even the name CPAcon, a friend of mine was just like, you know how that sounds?
Like a con man, like a CPA,
Exactly. That's a good title of a movie or something or a series. CPAcon.
I can see Akon also singing on it too. I can see him doing some.
May I have your attention, please?
Accounting High.
From cloud accountancy way back to desktop accounting advisory and tech apps adopt. Went solo with the rap, Scotty still the same. Raleigh is the spot where I edutain. Like, share, connect, comment, follow this. And subscribe to our podcast. Next when we drop, cause you know it don't stop. It's 24/7 on the Accounting Highlight. TikTok clips don't watch, just some shitty tax talk. Cleaning up accounting with a bucket and a mop. Then we lean back and nod, cause the class is about to start at Accounting High. Scotty, OKR.
Accounting High. Accounting High.
Introducing the star of our show.
Scotty and Kendale King.
We're gonna have a problem here.
Thanks for joining us at Accounting High here. Students, I've got with me Kendale King from LA. He's like the king of LA here, LA CPAs. What's up, homie?
What's up? Thank you for having me, man.
So I want to read a couple things from your LinkedIn for our students here. As I said, you're living in LA. You're from Cleveland, building a family. You've got a young son also named Callie, in Cali with a son named Callie, but that's Callie with a K. You're a gamer. Laughter is your daily meditation. I love that. That's dope. You make content related to accounting, finance. You're a CPA, and you've written the best script for a show about an accountant that the world has never seen. I want to see this script.
That's been a labor of love since high school, college.
All right. Well, now that you mentioned high school, college, how did you end up a CPA? You've been doing this for a little while now. You started out at Deloitte. How? Why? Why the CPA route?
When I was I was going into high school, so I was 8th grade. Others sat me down and was like, all right, Kendale, you need to figure out what you want to do with your life. At that time, I loved playing football, playing in the uni league. You don't have to sing, so I was at the Cleveland School of the Arts. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be a football player, a rapper, music, something other than an accountant at the time. Not because I didn't like accounting, but more in the sense I wasn't aware.
It's not a glamorous thing to aspire to anyway, right? When you could be an athlete or an entertainer.
She literally sat me down and said, hey, let's look up careers you need to be good in math in. Google searched it and had a whole list. An actuary, an engineer, architect, doctor, all this good stuff. I chose architecture at the first point because I like the idea of creating stuff. So I was like, that's cool.
Not an actuary?
Not an actuary. It would have been a list. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was just because I like the math, even just the statistics of the stuff. So it was in my top 5. I ain't gonna cap. Actuary was in my top 5, and because I heard that they made a lot of money at the time. I ended up choosing a school that actually focused on architecture and design. So that was my high school, was the Cleveland School of Architecture and Design, which allowed me to play football still. So I kind of had to just give up my singing. So I stopped doing that, and I went to the architecture, and I went into playing football. And so
you let Kid Cudi go do the singing and the rapping then, right?
I did. I was just
a homie from Cleveland.
Yes, sir. I found out very quickly, architecture, you kind of have to draw. Kind of got to draw good, very well. And I sucked at it. I sucked at actually visual drawing and art. Every last bit of it, I was trash. I
You were a math guy.
Power. Again, I'm math. At that thing, I just knew very quickly, scratched it off the list. I'm not about to be an architect. So what was the next thing on the list? I was fortunate enough to be dual enrolled in a program called High Tech Academy, which allowed me to take the college courses while I was in high school. That allowed me to take up accounting. I took an accounting course, and I was like, oh, okay, I like this. I could do this. This makes sense to me.
It just clicked. Was it easy?
It was very easy, actually.
For you, not for everybody, but
exactly.
Yeah.
It came real second nature to me. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That as much as this should be also on that side and concepts, and then you realize it's not even really that much about math, but more about logic.
Logic of accounting, but it's also the logic of business and finance
Exactly.
too. So
And
you also
applying
saw that
concepts.
could be the keys to any other business profession. Is that right? What was it? So you're taking accounting classes. It wasn't like real life experience yet. What was your first real life experience then with it?
To be honest, my first real life experience with business, accounting, and everything was when I was running my own small little business on the side.
What was your side hustle? What was your first side hustle?
So the very first thing that I can remember that, me and my brother partnered in business quite a bit growing up. Because my mother didn't give us allowances, so we kind of had to, get our money the way we could.
Sure.
And so we ended up just taking things around the house that we weren't using anymore and literally just sold it on the street. I guess our first thing was the flip, the flipping business, swap meet, I guess. Then we used that money, part of that money, to buy candy and what we wanted. But the other half of that money we used to buy more stuff. We would buy food and sell the food on the corner. We literally bought like a little pack of paper, rolled it up like 10 in each, and just rolled it up and sold paper for like 10 cents each, and like people bought it. Literally people just bought rolled up pieces of paper that we took out.
These weren't drugs or anything. You weren't rolling up paper and people thought they were buying something else. This was actually just paper.
Yeah, we weren't there. Now, we probably could have been
So
successful.
you were doing
in that
good
too.
things. Yeah, you were selling things. You were still learning about inventory. You were still learning about
Yes.
buying things, selling it. At first, your inventory didn't cost you anything. It was just
Correct.
hand-me-down stuff
Some
from the
costs.
house.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to start thinking about, okay, I got to pay this much for this. How much can I actually sell it for?
Exactly.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was my job when
Your brother,
we were
what was your
younger.
brother, the talker? Did you guys like have a partnership?
Yeah. So he was the one who initially was like, yo, he had the idea of like, let's make some money, type thing. Let's do this and everything. And I always came with like, all right, this is how you get it done. And so that was my job. I was like, all right, coming up with how much to sell it for. Even, the sales pitch, I had to walk up to people and just like, hey, you want to buy this and blah, blah, blah. At the time, he was the crazy idea and I was the way to execute.
So you were the operations. Okay, so
Yes.
you were like the integrator in a sense. Did you always have this bug for entrepreneurial, or was it just a family thing early on?
It lasted throughout because that was just our first thing. Then I went and sold, CDs. Sorry to all the musicians out there, but I used LimeWire. I downloaded and made
Napster,
CDs.
LimeWire, yep.
I know, it was a thing.
Pirate Bay.
And so I created mixed CDs for people. I would go on LimeWire. I bought CDs, little CD cases. I even bought things to print out and paste on. Like, here's what you have on your CD. I took it there. So the entrepreneurial
There's one
thing,
in every crowd. There had to be one in every school. Somebody was making them.
Exactly. So that was me.
Now you're also you got a life in accounting. You went and got your degree in accounting and
Yes.
the real world experience now. Now let's talk about that kind of
Yep.
experience. Experience in school and in accounting.
Yep. So my first real world experience now was Deloitte. I did an internship with them after I did their case study competition and got the offer to come in. So I started there at T4T around there somewhere. Started with Deloitte in Florida, did my master's program. I did a second internship with them. I actually did an internship first with Chrysler. And then technically, before that, I had a work study program with my college, Morehouse, where I worked in the accounting department.
Clear up the years, according to your LinkedIn, you did 14 at Deloitte, but then you also did tax preparation at Jackson Hewitt in 15.
Yep.
So you're auditing and taxing. You're learning the ropes here, the ropes of accounting, audit and tax typically. And were you a CPA at that point? Did you get your 150 hours?
No,
Where were you at
in
on that
15. In 15, I was finishing doing my master's degree to get the 150 to get the degree, and then I was studying for the CPA exam during that year too.
You stuck with Deloitte. You ended up becoming a senior there, and you
Yep.
stuck it out for a good 3 years almost. Why leave the Big Four?
So it originally wasn't even my idea. I think in a lot of things, when you go walk into a company, you want to look up, right? And see yourself. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to the top. If I'm here, I'm going to be a partner one day. But I also knew that it was very important to align myself in the industry that I enjoyed and the passion that I had. And so that was entertainment. Like I mentioned before, I was like in the arts, but again, I love media. You can see, the collection of stuff that I have behind me. Like,
we're cut from the same cloth. I get it.
And so I just knew for my longevity, I needed to make sure that I was doing accounting in that industry. And nobody told me that. That's something I had to figure out because I was at Deloitte, I was auditing Office Depot. And Office Depot was cool, but I'm like, this doesn't bring me happiness and joy. It brought me, I was curious because I was still learning the concept. But once you get the concepts and everything, now you want to apply this to things that you are actually passionate about. And so I wanted to get to LA to get close to the entertainment industry. Again, I was in Florida at the time. And I was looking to get a transfer within Deloitte at first. And the only thing that they had, but they didn't have anything available for me in Los Angeles, but they had it available in New York, which was the next best thing for me at that time. I had a manager who told me, because I was struggling, I was like, man, I got to get to LA. I don't want to go to New York because it's cold. He told me, he was like, you know what, Kendale, you don't have to stay with Deloitte, right? I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Decision was made for you.
Yep. As soon as he told me that, I started looking for other avenues and started engaging recruiters and ended up going to the Siegfried group. Also put me on the other side of the audit, which I actually enjoyed more. As an auditor, it felt like I couldn't really provide value. It felt like everybody was scared of me and everything like that. And so being on the other side as a consultant, I'm coming in because they're asking me to come in and solve a problem for them. It's just a different value that you get. That was what got me over to LA and entertainment.
What's the Siegfried group for our students?
They call themselves like the Siegfried SEALs, essentially, where they go in, they handle a problem. But at the end of the day, it's, backfilling a role. Consulting. Maybe it's a particular form of accounting or transaction that the company needs a little bit more expertise and help with. So they bring in people who have that.
So some of your clients there, you had 21st Century Fox. You had some things in the entertainment vein. So you were still scratching that itch. Then you made an interesting move after about a year there to Netflix.
Yes.
That's an entertainment giant right now.
That was the gold. That was the gold standard for me. I was just like, I have the chance to do Netflix. I was like, Siegfried, y'all cool, but like, I'm taking this opportunity.
Now, was that because your eye was always on something else? Like, you're still ambitious here. You're working at Siegfried, but did you apply for this Netflix opportunity?
It was a colleague of mine actually had brought it to my attention because she knew what I was ultimately trying to do, get into the entertainment space more full time. And with Siegfried, with a lot of consulting companies, they don't necessarily care that you're working in the field you want to work in, right? They need people to do the job. Mm-hmm. If they don't have an entertainment client that is currently in need, and I'm sitting on the bench, that, well, you need to come over here and work on this healthcare company because we need to make money off of you.
Yeah, but now you're trying to niche even further,
Correct.
even deeper. Netflix is
Correct.
a lot more specific to what you wanted to do. So now, boom, you're at Netflix. You made it.
I made it. That's what I thought.
Right?
That's what I thought.
What's the reality of that?
The reality was they already had their model. They had their way of doing things, their process. It was like, all right, you're a cog that fits into this machine and you turn the way we tell you to turn.
They're locked in and there's no coloring outside the line. They've already defined what the lines are and you're not using any colors. You're using red and black. That's it.
Exactly.
And
that's what this is. This looks like. You need to focus on doing this. And then maybe a couple of years down the line, maybe after you put your time in, you do this and you can get to this place and you can do that. And this, for me, it was just like, after a few months, it's like literally drained me, and it just showed in every aspect. My director at the time told me, Kendale, you're probably looking for a smaller production company where I could have a little bit more say, a little bit more push, a little bit more,
a little bit more impact,
which is what I was looking for.
So you've challenged yourself to jump and go do something else again and continue to push and challenge yourself. Yep. Found yourself eventually into the event space. How did that happen?
After I left Netflix, I was actually at ITV for a little bit. Again, a smaller production company in LA. They just created a scripted department, and I built that up from the ground. That was during the pandemic. After the pandemic concluded. They wanted people back in the office, but again, all this while I was still on the side doing hustles, doing accounting work. I had clients, doing people's taxes.
Still had side hustle clients?
Yeah, still doing that.
Okay, so that has been fueling. How much are you making on the side just doing that?
Put some money in your pocket, but it wasn't like, it wasn't crazy. Not at that time. Okay. It had gotten to a point by the time that the company was asking us to come back into the office that I felt confident and comfortable, like, I can go out on my own. I don't need to be an employee anymore. So that was around 2022. Up until that point, again, I had accumulated clients, and the live event space specifically, I had created, with my brother, bring him back in. He's a dancer, choreographer, musician. He was out here first in LA. He had an idea of wanting to create a studio. So we created Studio 216, and that was a live event space. I was able to transition that knowledge and information over into, in addition to my accounting, in the DreamCon team back in 2021. So
what is DreamCon for our students?
Yeah, so DreamCon is an anime, gaming, entertainment, culture convention. And it's put on by RDC World, which is a group of influencers on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. I had went to DreamCon. It was just like a culmination of all the things that I loved and enjoyed all at one with a community of folks. I couldn't get VIP tickets again the next year because they sold out very fast. But then I saw staff applications were being posted, like they needed help. And I was like, okay, well, let's get in where I fit in, I guess. They weren't even looking for an accountant. I was just like, well, you got to shoot your shot. And so I just told them, like, look, I can do this. I can do your budgets. I can make sure you do this, X, Y, and Z correct. Actually, they reach out and was like, actually, we do need somebody like this. Quickly from just kind of being their bookkeeper, budget person, where I was the head of partnerships. So I was having conversations with companies to bring in money. So I turned into sales at that point. Now my role as chief financial officer of the company, again, we scaled it, and they had about 2,000, 3,000 people. And now we got 22,000 plus where we are. So it's a very impactful event that we do every year.
Big event. So this is like Comic-Con levels too.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely getting there.
Like you just said, shoot your shot. And you're doing something that you enjoy, and you found some larger purpose that you could help grow something. And look at that. Physically, you could see you grew something from 20,000, going from 2,000 to 22,000. All the while, you've got your other side projects. You were growing a little practice. You got a name for it. At one point, you had K&J. Is that because your partner's also an accountant too?
Yeah, so that's
your
actually
wife,
my
your
wife.
fiance,
Yeah,
your wife.
my wife.
That's right.
So at the time, we were just dating. But she's an accountant. She's not the nerd accountant like I am. She's more creative, she knew that accounting would get her a job and keep her paid. But we created the business together, and that was helping small businesses get access to a CPA. We still, have customers for that business. Like when I went out in 2022, I was just, again, not trying to chase the $300 a month clients. How can I really provide true impact and value to those growing businesses? And so that's where CPA came from. And again, that was very niche down, because even the K&J financial, strategic financial account by KJ, what we called it, it was real general. And I was still learning to truly be okay with niching down. I think we all get to a point where, like, I can do everything. I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. But just because, niching doesn't mean you can't do something. It just means that you're focused. And I had to learn that lesson. And, as you see, I did quite a bit of stuff all the time. And, these recent years, I've been learning to focus instead of become a sniper rifle instead of a shotgun.
You trying to be the LeBron of CPAs or something?
Trying, yeah.
Your logo looks very similar to his, and it's got the purple and gold too, so it's got a little bit of Lakers vibes. So you've learned how to specialize, and you've created a niche firm that you can still service clients, and you can command higher prices. You've got a few things that your hands in right now. You got DreamCon, you got your firm KCK, which is your initials, KCK CPA. Now you've taken two other colors that are very near and dear to accounting, blue and green. Any accounting branding firm, most in this space, is green or blue or a combination of both. Our firm was a combination of both at one point. And you've decided to now throw an event for accountants, for CPAs in LA. What is this? CPAcon. Please enlighten our students.
So it came about when I was actually watching like NBA All-Star competition. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, why don't accountants have something like this? And that's the spark that kind of came from. The only thing you hear nowadays is the talent pipeline. All you hear in accounting is boring and all this good stuff. And I just take a step back because through my work with CalCPA or through my work with NABA, professional organization, I'm always the one that's like, hey, I'm a different type of CPA. Don't lump me in with how you do accounting industry as a whole. And I kind of really took that position for a lot of the things that I'm going to conventions. I'm chilling with content creators and music artists and dancers and stuff. And I work from home. I can travel the Maldives and still carry on my business right now. I don't have to be stuck to an office system. So I really wanted to show that people can have fun, accountants can have fun, and that this can be interesting. Just show people the different pathways, that you can take. It's not just about audit and tax and advisory. And I think that, Big Four and banking did a great job on their part of kind of making it seem like those were the only options, specifically like in the colleges and stuff. To no fault in their own, like they fed their pipeline. But now I think we got
you fed right into it.
I did.
You looked at it like at first accounting was too boring for you too, and you wanted to go do something different.
Exactly.
You found your way. You found accounting, but you fed right into their pipeline, and for 2-3 years, that's what you did.
I did, and that's why I can just speak from experience. It's because no one told me about that, and I wasn't exposed to things like that. The only thing I was exposed to and why Deloitte was the one that I eventually went with is because of the case study competition. Even that simple type of competition that they had, which again for me, who's a gamer, again I say gamer in all senses of the word. So are we talking about board games or just sports or actual video games, like any type of game competition? Competition. Yeah. So when that happened, that I saw that and I was like, oh, I thought that's what we do in real life. Like we're researching, we're putting it and making it happen, and then you realize, okay, we're not doing this. We're not doing a case competition every day here. Okay, got it. That's where I think CPAcon can work and to expose people to the different pathways that exist, but also create a pillar of competition and fun and learning too, because you're going to be learning while people are going through it. But I see this as accountants league of activities, which if we want to call it a sport now, I think a lot of things can be called sports now, I guess. But
a lot of things can be called sports. There's Excel sports.
There is, and that's
Excel.
I think that the importance of making things competitive and introducing the gamification, the fun element is necessary for any business, any industry to survive. It's like when you really think about it, athletes are just playing games. Football, we just made up a game and people are playing it, but they're playing it and entertaining people on a level. So why not do that in accounting? And that's where CPAcon is coming in, being that accounting sport for us.
Well, we're big fans of that here at Accounting High. We have our tournaments, competitions, so this is why I like to support stuff like this, because it doesn't exist yet until you dream it into reality. Mm-hmm. And you, sir, are doing that. So, students, this is out in November. You've got less than a month to get your ticket to CPAcon and to get out there and go support Kendale and his new endeavor here. So, CPAcon, give us the details. Give our students the details as they stand. December 3rd. Yep.
December 3rd at the Shrine Auditorium here in Los Angeles, literally right across the street from USC. We're going to be in the expo hall. There will be different game show formats. Just imagine a life-size maze labyrinth within the expo hall where you have to go through, you and your team have to go through, find all the questions, answer them, and get out in the fastest time. You'll be able to see explanation and details of the different types of games, but it's something you don't want to miss. It's going to be the first of its kind. We're really trying to do is build something that it starts in California, but then we'll do one in New York, we'll do one in Florida, and then we'll take the best of California, the best of New York, and then we pit them against each other at a national competition. And then the first one is in December coming up.
I would love to have a rap competition or rap battle or some form of other entertainment, other alternative accounting raps. I'm saying I'm already double booked. I'm booked. I'm going to be at North Carolina CPA's convention, NC Tax Update in Greensboro at the same day already confirmed for that. Otherwise, I would love to be there to support. CPAcon is at least planting a flag this year in 2024. Yes. Sounds like a great way to get students into accounting and get them excited about something like accounting. So you've got the full support of CalCPA. How did you connect with them, or how did you already work with them on other things?
Obviously coming to LA, became a member. But the first thing we worked on was a CPE on NFTs. And so me and Richard, who's the past president of CalCPA in the LA chapter, we double teamed on an NFT presentation of how, you can do accounting and everything back in 2022. And so from then I joined the actual board, volunteered, did what I had to do on the board, still a board member now. And I literally came up with the idea, I just called him up and I was like, hey, what y'all think about this? And talking to Denise, Freming, the president of CalCPA, of all of CalCPA, not just LA, it was very, 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 very received very well. And she was like, yes, we want to be a part of this in a big way and whatever way we can. So let's make this happen. That's, kind of how we got here.
So that's the outside validation you needed to make this a actual reality. Did you get scared when they said yes, they liked it? Does that mean that now I got to do some work?
No, because honestly, the work was already happening before then. It was, I'm not going to lie, like anything that you're building from scratch is scary, whether that's a firm, honestly, going on your first day of work, of a new job, you get the sure. Butterflies. It's like, will I do okay? Will this be successful? It's definitely a feeling of that I really won't really shake off until it actually happens, until we sure. have a successful launch. And so my team does that every day.
I get it.
But getting that okay and the yes was more like, let's go. Because it is that, like you said, that external validation, which is great. Because when you think of an idea, I think my ideas are pretty great. I'm like, all right, cool. But, when another person is like, actually, yes, that idea is pretty great. It kind of takes you from that selfish type of egocentric type of situation to more is like, okay, well now other people are also in agreement with you. So it's not just you thinking you're great, but it's that was a great idea. And now let's execute.
As with all acts of creation too, when it exists in your head, it does feel a little egocentric or self-centric because you're creating something that didn't exist before, or you're doing something new and it's different, and you're also prepared to defend it too.
Yes.
So, as I have learned, rapping in front of accountants as an accountant, I got a lot of skepticism, or I was met with a lot of criticism or skepticism initially. So you also have to power through some of that as well. And I'm sure you're meeting some resistance as well as a lot of people excitement too. So that any kind of resistance you have is met with more people that are more excited about it too, I'm sure.
There's an more overwhelmingly, of a positive response for sure, and that this is needed. There has been skepticism, things of like, live events, can you really bring in that many people? Or do you think people actually will compete? You don't think people will be scared that they might be wrong, and everything? Even the name CPAcon, a friend of mine was just like, you know how that sounds?
A con man, like a CPA,
exactly. I thought about that at first too. But and it was funny too, because I was just like, oh, what if he'd be like, that's a good title of a movie or something, or a series, CPAcon. But again,
I can see Akon also singing on it too. I can see him doing some kind of
exactly. You can take it any way you would like it.
What if you got Akon to be the MC at CPAcon?
That would be great.
He'd be probably too expensive.
Definitely for this year, 100%. He's not in the budget, unless he's doing it on the low. But if he was, because he's a great businessman, so I would love to have him.
I'm saying that's not out of the realm of possibility. Maybe year 3. Maybe you can push that to year 3. Maybe
CPAcon Africa. Yeah.
There you go. All right, I'm just throwing ideas out. But for our students, check it out. Their tickets are on sale now. They will be on sale definitely in November, especially if you're in the LA area. Go check it out. This is going to be meant to be fun. It's going to be engaging. It's going to be a way to meet new people. Also, for new people to meet accounting. So putting your best foot forward, accounting is actually something that they could be interested in beyond just being a basketball player or a rapper.
Yep, that's it, man.
As you have learned.
Look, that's my thing. Just being exposed to it is the key.
Last piece of advice to give our students. Kendale, who's been traveling, globe-trotting the entertainment and CPA world for a little while now and is putting on an event for us. You're the ringmaster, the ringleader.
A piece of advice I always try to stick to is don't aim for perfection, aim for success. I think a lot of us get tripped up with it has to be perfect, especially, with accounts, is that things have to be perfect. Things have to be aligned. And if it's not, then it's just not meant for me or it's not what it needs to be. And so I just would advise people to just start. Do something. Don't expect it to be perfect. Get out there, get something going, because that's the only way you're really going to start, getting close to your destination is by taking that step. So don't be so caught up in trying to be perfect. Move forward toward your destination and be successful.
Take that fearless first step. Don't get held back by perfection, because usually it's fear. That perfection is usually you masking your own fears with this has to be perfect. And most people don't notice any of those imperfections that you're noticing, especially at that time that you're holding it back. That's great advice. Thank you, Kendale. Appreciate you, homie. Class dismissed.